Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Harvester blind. Last time I inspected this meat packing, this slaughterhouse, which I'm supposed to work at, and it's full of dead cats and all that. So, dead and dying as well, because this one is still alive. But I've gotten to expect things like that in this town of Harvest. Not to mention the thing next door is Geen Memorial School, which I'm still, until the game convinces me otherwise, I'm still convinced it's named after Ed Gein, the famous serial killer who made furniture out of people. Because that would be right up this game's alley. So let's explore that as well. Geen Memorial Bake Sale. It looks like the bake sale will be held here. A distasteful amalgam of chewed gum, mangled love notes, broken ballpoints, and oozing blue ink and wadded Kleenex. A bulletin board ridden with staples. And the lockers are riddled with inexplicable stains and dents. The door is locked. A glass-protected fire alarm. This drinking fountain doesn't work.
Steve, good of you to drop by, big guy. Haven't seen you since graduation. A lot of changes, I hear.
You could say that.
Good. That's a nice part of my job. Turning fine young men and women out into the world, and then watching them prosper. Of course, I was able to reach more people at the old Sentinel, God bless her. But then again, I never got to see the results of my work up close before.
Who are you?
You know very well I'm Mr. Harold, principal of Geen Memorial. Steve, I've heard about this amnesia nonsense. I had hoped you'd be in the lodge by now, fine young fellow like yourself. But now, I think maybe you need a little more quality time.
Okay, tell me more about Geen Memorial.
Geen Memorial? Sounds like a cemetery or a hospital, not a school.
This institution was named for a great man, whose first name escapes me. He epitomized the great potential within us all, big guy. I hear there's an honorary plaque commemorating him within the lodge.
Well, my money is on the fact that his first name is actually Ed, and the potential that he realized within us all was the potential to make great furniture out of our bodies. The big guy.
Why do you keep calling me big guy?
A sign of respect, lad. As principal, my station is higher than yours now, but you never know what the future holds, so you should always hedge your bets and pay tribute to your inferiors. You never know who will come to power, or who, even now, wields it behind the scenes. For all I know, you might already be a member of the order, with access to the lodge. If that were the case, you'd be my superior, and I'd be all that much better off having shown you respect and spent some quality time with you.
Quality time? That sounds... The way he says it makes me think that he abused me in some way.
What do you mean, quality time?
Some, like Miss Whaley, favor stern discipline, corporal punishment, as a means of socialization. Myself, I temper discipline with love. Quality time can be such a warm, sharing experience. After just a few sessions, you'd stop this amnesia nonsense and become a productive member of society and a fit candidate for the lodge.
Okay, so it seems it's not only abuse, it's actually sexual abuse. Amnesia?
You turned out pretty good, except for that amnesia nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Maybe you need a little straightening out. Oh, the things I could do to you. You'd be a much finer young man with just a little quality time.
Okay, what about the lodge?
Big guy, borrowing some quality time? The greatest gift I can bestow upon you as your former principal is a word of advice. Join the Order of the Harvest Moon at any cost. Within the lodge lies your future, and without, dust.
Principal?
Surely mine is the most important position in Harvest. The ability to mold young minds. That's power. You might think Sheriff Dwayne's the most important man here, big guy. But he only deals with my failures. When I do my job right, the sheriff never sees a thing.
Okay, what about the bake sale?
Oops, you just lost me.
Yeah, once again, there was a bunch of other topics, but I already forgot them because I'm very tired. Like, I'm playing after work, so obviously I'm not best at concentrating right now. So I feel like that's a botched design. It shouldn't be like that. For the conversation topics to disappear and you having to write them back in here.
Drop in again soon. Adult education is a wonderful thing, as is adult quality time. Seeing you here again, one would think you'd never graduated. Nostalgia is a waste of time, big guy. You need to move forward, and if you ask me, the lodge lies firmly in that direction.
Okay, I don't remember any other topics. There were plenty, actually, but I just don't remember.
Drop in again soon. Adult education is a wonderful thing, as is adult quality time.
Okay. What's next? TV station. Okay. There's a bunch of people in front of it. A silver tucker with a yellow interior. Too busy drinking and smoking, they ignore you. The Indians? Okay, that's a bit of a racist sort of generalization about the whole group of them. A fairly primitive form of mind control. Applause. A corny western backdrop, complete with a cardboard teepee. Either the show isn't compelling, or no one wanted to be taken out by friendly fire. Odd. No one is operating the cameras.
Stay tuned, buckaroos. There's more to come on Range Riders Cowboy Roundup. So don't go away. And what's your name, hombre?
Steve.
Steve's a swell name. My dog's name is Steve. Would you like my autograph, Steve?
Sure, might be useful for something. I might be able to trade it.
Here you go, then.
Well, would you like to talk about the violence on TV?
Violence? What about it?
Once again, this is I dislike the sort of categorical dichotomy of this, because I don't, as I said in the first episode, I don't really care for gore if it isn't attached to any kind of greater story. But on the other hand, I think it's too categorical to say that young people cannot watch violence, in the media, or it will somehow corrupt them. There has been a lot of studies done on that. Obviously, as I said, it is sort of, it varies by degree. There are certain things, certainly, that you wouldn't show to a young child, but you could show to like a teenager. So obviously it varies, but I guess let's entertain this line of discussion and see what he thinks about it. Children watch your show. Don't you think the violence is bad for them?
Violence is as American as apple pie and low SAT scores. Where would we be right now if the cowboys hadn't gone out west and butchered innocent people to steal their land? Answer me that, Mr. Know-It-All.
But what about studies that have shown that children become more violent when watching violence?
Buckaroo, I rip the guts out of godless heathen Injuns. Most kids don't see godless heathen Injuns on a regular basis, and if they do, they better either get their eyes checked or do like old Range Rider and shoot the bejesus out of them, lest they want to go untreated for psychotic hallucinations or wind up with their scalps hanging from a buckskin belt. Oh, shit! Ow! Shit on a stickeroo! The parents that are griping about violence on TV are the same parents that go outside in the morning to fetch their papers, secure in the knowledge that they won't get an arrow through the noodle because the violence they hate so much done cleared the engines out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, civilization has benefited from violence. But should violence be treated as entertainment?
Check my rating, son. Violence is entertainment. I just put it on the air. If some kid watches, that says something about the kid, not me. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air.
Can we talk some more?
Can't talk now, Buckaroo. We're on in just a sec.
What if I take the other route?
Violence? What about it?
I love all the blood and gore on your show.
What red-blooded American doesn't? Nothing like an exploding head to get the blood pumping. Literally, that is.
Even so, do you think society pays a heavy price for the violence in the media?
Of course they pay a heavy price. Just look at the net profits. They'll line up around the block to see a good slaughter. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air.
As I said, that wasn't much of a deep discussion. And as I said, I don't think this topic is as clear-cut as this game is trying to suggest to me. Very poor reception. Strange, since the broadcast originates from here. A picture of a gorgeous model signed with "Kiss My Pineapple, Red Muffy." An assortment of empty cubicles. Either McKnight loves to recall his salad days as an insurance salesman, or he can't keep his employees happy.
Hey, Sport. This is a private office.
Yeah, I know, Mr.
McKnight. I own and operate this station. Have you brought me some news for tonight's broadcast, or...
I've lost my memory. That's news.
The hell it is! You always were a kidder, Steve. Any real news to tell me?
Actually, I was just wanting to know more about the TV station.
Hey, WHAR is the only television station in Harvest. Since the old Sentinel went under, what with the newspaper building burning down and all, we're golden. Nobody competes with us, Sport.
What an odd coincidence.
Hey now, Sport, that's an irresponsible allegation. I had nothing to do with that fire. Just because WHAR may have benefited from it and I danced on the ashes a little doesn't mean I torched the place. You can ask Sheriff Dwayne if you have any doubts.
You seem awfully touchy on the subject, Sport.
I'm touchy when people try to muscle their way into my business. I'd appreciate it if you'd leave my office and don't come back. Don't hurry back.
Okay. By the way, I liked how he said he danced on the ashes, and then he added a little as a qualifier. How do I exit this place? Oh, wait a second. I just realized something. The reason for why there is a line of Indians in front of the building is that they are actually killing them on air, right? That is the joke here. So they need to replace them constantly. Edna's Diner. A 1955 Frag 100 with a real leather seat. Even from the ground you can hear the sonorous buzz of the neon. A smoke alarm. Talk to Karen.
Hi, what's your name?
Karen,
What are you doing?
playing. My mom is working, so I gotta stay out of her hair. Wanna play?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. An unlocked drawer. Okay, so I can steal a bunch of stuff. Which, you know, I wouldn't normally do, but this is an adventure game. And in adventure games you usually need every item that exists. Straight slot screwdriver. Cake cover. What? The grease fryer is off.
Oh, Steve, what are you doing sneaking up on me like that? God, for a second I thought you were Mr. Johnson. What would you like to order?
You know me?
Sure. And my name's Edna Fitzpatrick. I'm not the one with amnesia.
Then you believe me.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I guess I've changed. I'm not kidding.
Now, Steve, faking amnesia won't help anything. If you don't want to marry Stephanie, then don't. But don't play sick, for heaven's sake. I'd expect that from Karen, not an 18-year-old.
Karen?
You've met Karen, my 8-year-old. Other than the diner, she's all I have.
What about Stephanie?
There isn't a nicer girl in Harvest than Stephanie, Steve. You should be grateful that she's promised you her hand.
I don't remember that happening, Edna.
Honestly, you men are so childish. I don't know what it is about marriage that turns even the bravest man into a coward. I was going to marry Karen's father when he just up and ran out on me one night. I heard that he joined the lodge, but if he did, I never saw him come out again. Even Sheriff Twain wasn't able to find out what happened to him.
Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Johnson has a liking for me. I call it a crush, but that's too innocent a word. He's a bitter man with too much time on his hands. He's never gotten over being rejected by the lodge, and there's something unwholesome in the way he looks at me. I'm always glad when the sheriff comes in every day at noon.
The sheriff.
Sheriff Dwayne is such a dear man. And I don't just say that because he's my most regular customer. Every single day, rain or shine, he comes in here at noon for lunch. Sits in the same spot, too. That's at least an hour every day when I can be sure Mr. Johnson won't show up. You know, it's funny. Dwayne never comes in here with Deputy Loomis, but he frequently dines with Mr. McKnight. You know, the owner of the TV station. Sometimes he comes in with Postmaster Boyle, but somehow I don't think they're friends.
A TV station?
Mr. McKnight owns the TV station WHAR. He seems to get along with Sheriff Dwayne better than Boyle does. Better than just about anyone, to tell the truth. I don't see the connection between them, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts that it's there anyhow.
Postmaster Boyle.
Though I see them together a lot, Boyle and the sheriff never act very friendly towards each other. Almost like there's some kind of bond between them besides friendship. Though what it might be, I can't imagine. Maybe Sheriff Dwayne resents the fact that he's never been able to get into the lodge. Though that's not Boyle's fault. He just hands out the applications. He doesn't decide who gets admitted.
What about the lodge?
The lodge is the repository of all wisdom. You should join the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve. And soon.
Why? For God's sake, what is it about this place?
The wheat ripens and waits not for the scythe. The farmer who waits too long, it were better that he used the scythe to rip his own stomach out than to stay his scythe when the wheat ripens. The harvest moon wanes and then comes winter. An empty belly, the body sun's belly, gurgling within or bloody on the ground. What does it benefit a man if he gains his soul and loses the world? You hunger. Feed yourself before it's too late. Oh.
Edna?
Steve. What happened? Were we talking about Boyle? Or was it Karen?
You seemed strange there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress. Running this diner all alone. Forgive me.
Okay. She seemed possessed.
Stop by anytime, Steve.
Bye-bye.
I think there was something on the ground. Nope, just debris. This is the newspaper building that has burned down. 3 fire hydrants and the building still burnt down? What's left of the newspaper building after the extreme fire? At least the plumbing held up. Stars and Stripes forever. The cop ignores you, too busy writing a bug report. An empty file cabinet labeled solved cases. The pot hisses at you from its perch. A map of harvests. It's labeled unsolved arson and it's full. Okay, that's potentially plot relevant. The door is locked.
That's the evidence room, where we store items lifted from crime scenes. It's kept locked at all times. There's things in there that could make people jump through hoops, if I wanted.
Okay. This door is locked as well. Sheriff Dwayne and Deputy Loomis. Okay, let's talk to the deputy first.
Hey, can I help you, kiddo?
Are you the sheriff?
Nope, I'm Deputy Loomis. Don't you remember?
No, I don't.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Anything I can help you with?
That coffee sure smells good.
Help yourself. Speaking of which, you're real lucky to be marrying Stephanie. She don't look like a good woman. I just hope she don't turn out like Mrs. Loomis, or mercy forbid Mrs. Phelps. Good women can be awful hard on a man's needs, don't you know?
Men's needs?
Why, you sure ought to appreciate what a man's got to do sometimes in a parked car, or a waist-high knothole in a tree, or jail cell at noon. Matter of fact, Mrs. Phelps got no reason not to sell you some of them French postcard girly picture books. If you can get any, you'd see clear to part with them. Bring them round when the sheriff's at lunch, and I'd be obliged.
Okay, so this guy wants some porn. What would he give me in return? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it is used for something, useful for something to do that. French postcards.
Of course, I don't necessarily mean French postcards. That's just what we called them in my day. Any kind of girly picture book, the kind men like, would be just dandy. I'd be right grateful, kiddo, if you were to bring me one.
Okay, Mrs. Phelps?
Mrs. Phelps down at the general store don't help things none. She's got them special picture books, the one with the ladies. But she won't sell me none on account of she knows my wife, Mrs. Loomis. Dadgum if that don't burn my britches. If I even ask about them, she tells Mrs. Loomis and I get the broom. Enough to break a man's heart, her burning my French postcards and me unable to replace them. A man's got needs, don't you know?
Actually, first of all, why can't he take care of his needs with his actual wife? But second, I'm sort of wondering on a philosophical and ethical level, is masturbating to other women is it unfaithful to your loved one? I could understand them understanding it as such. Obviously it's at the very least quite awkward, but I could understand this as infidelity in a way, because you're replacing that person, your loved one, in your head with in your actual view with someone else when you're engaged in a sexual activity with yourself. So I could understand people being angry about it, and generally, I feel like if you have such an additional need outside from sex, maybe you could just talk about it with your partner. Like, I know some people engage in, for example, mutual masturbation, or they do it together. I actually know couples that watch porn together, so it can be done. I am a firm believer, by the way, in everything being able to be done if you just discuss it calmly and reasonably with other people. I am a very big fan of discussing things, but you had something to say about Stephanie as well.
Oh, oh gosh darn, she's purty. Kinda like a gal I seen on some of them French postcards they used to make. Used to be, I'd take them things, go back into jail if nobody was there and kind of look 'em over one-handed, fold some towels. That was before Mrs. Loomis.
Mrs. Loomis.
Oh, gosh, I wish I had some of them girly pictures, but Mrs. Loomis won't let me keep them in the house. I still remember the time she caught me holding some of them pictures up with one hand. She took the broom to me. I howled like a hound dog, the broom going up and down, flashing straw and blood and straw, and I drooped. I was crying so bad, and it was so hard I had to crawl under the porch naked with all the black winter spiders, and I got bit something fierce. Little fangs are digging into my bare behind all over. I ask you, is that any way to treat a man? And Mrs. Phelps and the sheriff don't make it no easier neither.
What about Sheriff Dwayne?
If Sheriff Dwayne had a little kindness, he let me get around the little lady by letting me keep some of them picture books here, even if Mrs. Phelps would let me buy one. But see, he won't let me keep none here neither. He don't like me getting the jail mattress all marked up, don't you know?
That's a bit too much information, perhaps, but tell me more about the mattress, I guess.
Sometimes a man can be good with a gun or a knife, but even so, one-handed and all, he can get a little off in his aim. Ain't no shame in it. That's why the good Lord made evaporation and such. But the sheriff, he don't like it. He don't pay no mind to a man's needs no more than Mrs. Loomis. Bless her.
Okay.
Anytime, kiddo.
What about you, Sheriff Dwayne?
Hello, Steve. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheriff Dwayne, and this here's Loomis.
Pleasure, I reckon.
Then, we haven't met before?
Of course we have. But I heard about your alleged amnesia and figured I'd play along. I sure hope this is just a prank and not the start of some insanity plea. Keep your nose clean or you'll wind up in jail, and that's no place to hold a wedding.
Well, about my amnesia.
Why do you want to break your poor mama's heart with all this amnesia bunk?
I'm telling you the truth. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve.
Yeah, so everybody keeps telling me.
Boy, you need to stop all this funning and get serious. You've got a wedding coming up soon. Heck, you should be thinking about your career and about joining the lodge.
Well, tell me about jail.
Now, that's a place you don't want to wind up, boy. We've got a 3 strikes and you're out rule here in Harvest. You get arrested the 3rd time, you never get out of jail alive. So don't go committing any crimes, boy. Amnesia or no, I'll lock you up pronto.
Okay, crimes?
Crime-wise, nothing much has happened in Harvest since the newspaper fire. Oh, sure. Every week or so, we get the odd transient dropping dead. But other than that, it gets pretty slow around here.
Yeah, apparently there's like a bunch of unsolved arson. But tell me about that newspaper fire.
Sure. You remember? The Sentinel building burned down about 6 months ago.
That's what I'm telling you, Sheriff. I don't remember anything. Why won't you believe I have amnesia?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve. Anyway, the fireman said the fire was caused by arson. I never caught the perp, though.
But we found the gas can that was used. Yes, sirree, Bob. It's in the evidence room.
Loomis, That's classified. Darn it.
How many times you gonna have to tell me to keep my mouth shut, I wonder? Sorry, boss.
You've got the gas can in the evidence room? Did you dust it for prints?
You've been watching too much TV, Steve. Heck, who can make out all those curvy lines anyhow? No, it's sitting in there gathering dust, clean as the day we found it. Just in case I ever need a spare gas can. That case is closed, Steve.
What about Loomis?
Loomis here is my deputy. Without him, I'd have a hard time keeping the peace, or at least taking a lunch break. Mainly Loomis answers the phone and babysits the office while I'm out. Though sometimes he likes to go in the back and stain the jail mattress. Isn't that right, Loomis?
Oh, now, Sheriff, what you gotta go and say that for?
Loomis has more than his share of problems. I wouldn't invite him to the wedding. Or if you do, make sure he doesn't catch the garter. That could be embarrassing.
Oh, I wouldn't do nothing, Dwayne. But I sure would like a little garter than been around Stephanie's thigh. Oh, well, that'd be right special.
Okay, what about my wedding?
Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about to marry the prettiest little thing in Harvest. I think you and Stephanie are perfect for each other. I just hope her father's disappointment doesn't spoil everything.
Disappointment?
Mr. Pottsdam wants to hold the wedding in the lodge, but he'll never get in. Like all the rest, he's always hanging around the post office the first day of the month, waiting for Boyle to bring out that month's lodge applications. And there's always a long line, never enough applications to go around, and even if you do get an application, chances are you're right out of luck. Fewer called to the order and even less accepted. And Pottsdam, well, they've turned him down so many times, unless he does something radical, he'll never get in.
What about the lodge?
I don't mind telling you, I'd never get anything done if not for the lodge's efforts. To join the Order of the Harvest Moon is the highest dream of everyone in Harvest.
How can I get an application? I want to join.
Like I said, unless you get an application on the first day of the month, you're generally out of luck. Stop by the post office and talk to Postmaster Boyle. You never know. He might have a spare application laying around.
Okay, do you know anything about aliens?
Say what?
Okay, what about Stephanie?
Say what?
Okay,
Stop on by any time, Steve.
I guess that's all for now. So, let me save. And end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.